Goa, the land most people instantly associate with beaches, nightlife, and parties. Today, it's known as a hotspot for tourism, music festivals, and weekend getaways. But beneath that glossy image, Goa holds a past far deeper, richer, and stranger than what you see on the surface. Welcome to the Wisecrack Monk, and in today's video, I'm not here to give wisdom or opinions. I'm simply here to shed light on the truth, on history, what I like to call knowledge. So, let's jump right into the real Goa. Goa's history and Portuguese rule. Unlike most of India, which was largely colonized by the British, Goa remained under Portuguese rule for an astonishing 451 years, from 1510 to 1961. In 1498, Vasco da Gama landed at Calicut in Kerala, opening the sea route from Europe to India. Just a few years later, in 1510, Afonso de Albuquerque, one of Portugal's greatest commanders, captured Goa from the Bijapur Sultanate. Why Goa? Because of its natural harbors, its access to the spice trade, and its central location along the west coast of India. Goa soon became the capital of Portuguese Estado de India, or the State of India, which at one time included not just India, but Portugal's entire Asian empire. Portuguese colonies worldwide. By then, the Portuguese were already spreading across the world. In the 16th and 17th centuries, their empire became the first true global empire. Some of their key colonies included Africa, Mozambique, Angola, Guinea-Bissau, Cape Verde. Middle East, Hormuz in the Persian Gulf, and Muscat in Oman. Asia, Malacca in Malaysia, Macau in China, Timor, parts of Sri Lanka, and even a trading post in Nagasaki, Japan. South America, Brazil, their largest and richest colony. They may have been small in number, but they controlled strategic choke points, ports, islands, and trade routes, giving them naval dominance. Portuguese colonies in India. While Goa was the jewel, the Portuguese also maintained a chain of settlements along India's coast. On the western coast, Diu in Gujarat, captured in 1535, a fortified island port. Daman, acquired in 1559 to keep Gujarati powers in check. Bassein, Vasai, near Mumbai, a major fort and trading hub until the Marathas captured it in 1739. Chaul in Raigad, Maharashtra, a naval base and outpost. Cochin in Kerala, their first settlement in 1503, later lost to the Dutch in 1663. Kannur in Kerala, another trading base. On the eastern coast, San Tome and Mylapore, Chennai, a Tamil Nadu outpost. Nagapattinam, later contested with the Dutch. In the northeast, Hooghly in Bengal, a trading colony set up in 1535 but destroyed by the Mughals in 1632. By the 20th century, only Goa, Daman, and Diu remained under Portuguese control, until India annexed them in 1961. In short, Goa wasn't just another colony, it was the headquarters of Portuguese Asia. Cultural legacy. The Portuguese built churches, forts, and European-style homes. They introduced the first printing press in Asia in 1556. They spread Catholicism widely and left behind a unique Indo-European culture. Even today, you can see it in Goan surnames, cuisine like Vindaloo and Sorpotel, and in the easygoing Susagad lifestyle. Goa remained under Portuguese rule even after India's independence in 1947. Finally, in 1961, the Indian Army launched Operation Vijay, a swift 36-hour action that ended Portuguese rule. Goa officially became a state of India in 1987. Yet even today, Goa has its own uniform civil code, a remnant of Portuguese law still unique in India. Hidden truth? Many older Goans still feel a cultural connection to Portugal, and thanks to dual citizenship laws, thousands migrated to Europe through Portugal. Kat, why the British failed to colonize Goa? Now here's the fascinating part. Why did Portugal, a small European kingdom, hold Goa for 451 years, while the mighty British ruled the rest of India? Strategic alliances and brutal fortifications. The Portuguese built strong forts like Aguada and Reis Magos and controlled the Mandovi and Zuari rivers. They allied with local Catholic elites and communities who resisted outside rulers. Religious entrenchment missionaries converted large sections of the population to Christianity. This created a unique dual identity, Indian and Lusitanian, tying Goans culturally to Portugal. Treaty politics. Britain and Portugal were allies under the Anglo-Portuguese Alliance, signed in 1373 and still technically valid today. The British respected Portugal's claim over Goa to maintain that relationship. Goa was not economically threatening. By the 18th century, Goa's spice and maritime trade had declined. Bombay, under the British, overtook it, so Goa wasn't worth the fight. Portuguese stubbornness. Portugal insisted Goa was not a colony but an overseas province, part of Portugal itself. Even when Portugal weakened, they refused to give it up. Hidden truth: the British didn't fail militarily. They simply chose not to take Goa. It was declining in importance, and politically, it was easier to let Portugal keep it. The Hippie Trail in Goa, 1960s to 70s. After World War II, young Westerners rejected materialism and war culture. They set off on a hippie trail, an overland route from Europe to Asia. Goa became the final stop of that trail. Cheap, sunny beaches, easy visas, friendly locals, and freedom from Western rules. Anjuna Beach became the hippie capital with nudist sunbathing, free love, spiritual experiments, and psychedelic music. The freedom Goa offered: drugs, hashish, and LSD were widely available, making Goa a global hotspot for psychedelic culture. Music, parties with sitars and guitars evolved into Goa trance, later EDM. Spirituality, many hippies turned to yoga, meditation, and gurus in Goa and nearby ashrams. It became a sanctuary for seekers of alternative lifestyles. Present day, 2020s, the pure hippie scene has faded, replaced by tourist-driven commercialism. Anjuna, Vagador, and Arambol still have remnants: drum circles, flea markets, yoga retreats, but the vibe is mixed with Russian, Israeli, and European expat influences. Drug laws are stricter now, but rave culture still thrives underground. Goa may shift from drug-fueled hippie culture to spiritual retreats, already happening with yoga festivals, Ayurveda centers, and eco-villages. Digital nomads are also making Goa the new Hippie Trail, swapping hash pipes for laptops and Wi-Fi cafes. Hidden truth: Goa is no longer the wild free love paradise of the 70s, but it's evolving into a modern sanctuary for alternative living. Ancient history of Goa. But wait, Goa isn't just Portuguese churches and hippie beaches. Dig deeper, and you'll uncover layers of history most people know nothing about. Prehistoric Goa, Stone Age remnants. Goa has evidence of prehistoric human habitation: rock carvings, megaliths, and tools. At Uskalamal, in South Goa, carvings over 10,000 years old depict animals, labyrinths, and human figures. Hidden truth: Goa's heritage is older than the pyramids of Egypt. Ancient port of Goa, long before the Portuguese, Goa was a thriving trade hub. Known as Gomantak or Govapuri, it was part of the Mauryan Empire, and later the Satavahanas, Chalukyas, and Kadambas. The Kadambas, who ruled from the 10th to 14th century, made Goa their capital, building temples like Tamdi Surla, still standing today. Religious and cultural uniqueness. The Saptakoteshwar Temple, once the Kadambas' patron deity, was destroyed by the Portuguese but rebuilt by Shivaji. Buddhist caves at Arvalem and Ravona suggest monks lived here as far back as the 6th century. Goa was a crossroads for Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, and later Christianity. Mythological Goa. Goa is mentioned in ancient texts as Gomantak. Legends link the Pandavas' exile to Goa's caves, and myths say Lord Parashurama created Goa by commanding the sea to recede. Ancient sacred geography. Waterfalls like Dudsagar weren't just scenic, they were pilgrimage sites. Villages still preserve fertility rituals and folk traditions older than organized religion. And the sacred groves, or devrai, remain untouched forests dedicated to deities. Hidden truth: Goa's forests and rivers preserve living prehistoric traditions, where nature itself is worshipped. Sacred groves of Goa, where nature is worshipped. Hidden within Goa's villages are sacred groves, locally called devrai. These are patches of forest that have remained untouched for centuries, no trees cut, no soil disturbed. Why? Because they are considered the dwelling places of local deities, spirits, and ancestral protectors. In many villages, people still believe the grove itself is divine. Cutting a tree or harming an animal inside is seen as bringing misfortune. These sacred forests act as natural temples where rituals, village festivals, and fertility rites are performed. Instead of stone idols, here the gods are the trees, the streams, and the very earth itself. The ecological role. What's fascinating is that these traditions also preserved Goa's ecology. The groves protect water sources, acting as natural reservoirs for wells and ponds. They preserve rare medicinal plants. They're a safe haven for birds, snakes, and other wildlife. Long before climate change was a concept, Goans had already created a living system of conservation, rooted in spirituality. Hidden truth. In today's modern Goa, while skyscrapers and casinos rise, many villages still hold on to their sacred groves. They are reminders that to Goans, nature isn't separate from God. Nature itself is God. So, the next time someone says Goa is just about beaches and parties, you'll know the truth. Goa is prehistoric carvings, Hindu dynasties, Buddhist monks, Portuguese cathedrals, hippie communes, and digital nomads, all layered into one place. And this is just the beginning, because the Hippie Trail in Goa deserves its own deep dive, and that's coming soon on this channel. If you enjoyed this breakdown of Goa's hidden history, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more untold stories, honest reviews, and truth bombs. This is the Wisecrack Monk, cutting through myths, one story at a time.